provisions of our Constitution. The Constitution was influenced by Enlightenment thinkers such as John Locke and Rousseau and other folks who emphasized reason, individual rights, and the separation of power. And that don't sound nothing like Christianity. Are you with me? Not only that, it was founded on a foundation of separation of church and state. The First Amendment's establishment clause that says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion suggests to you that they ain't in there for that. And the free exercise clause indicate that it's a clear intention to separate government from religious institutions. And that's inconsistent with the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments begin by saying you have no other God over God. They're talking about religious freedom. Am I right about it? And then not to mention the content is different and the founders' intentions were different. Many of the founding fathers, such as Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, were influenced by deist and Enlightenment principles, but not the Ten Commandments. Jefferson, I know not the Ten Commandments because Jefferson lived a lifestyle of breaking one of them. I'll get to that in 1 second. Some of the confusion arises from historical misinterpretations or the desire to promote a particular ideological perspective. But the moral and ethical values found in the Ten Commandments, somebody may argue may have influenced somebody, but it ain't written in there. And so as a result of this, I know it couldn't have been, because it's hard to believe in the Ten Commandments and rape enslaved girls. I wonder what the state representative from Louisiana who decided to author this law in religiosity and not being informed, did she know, or how does she feel about the fact that the law didn't protect enslaved black girls and black women at all? Was God okay with that? Does she know that there was no law against raping my ancestors? How does she feel about the fact that the law didn't protect y'all? And I'm just proud. I think the fact is, and you can't say this in schools now, because CRT, that black girls, black women, black boys, others were raped on plantations with impunity and murdered with no legal consequence. That's a fact. And our national motto, "In God We Trust," right? Yeah. And Governor Landry said he can't wait to be sued. I'm almost finished now. He can't wait to be sued because he knows that there's a clown Supreme Court who can be counted on to undergird his activism. That the clown who started that circus is trying to get back under the tent. And that if he can get it to the Supreme Court, they may side with him. And I heard somebody say they were smart. They were smart, but they were drowning in profound ignorance. Said to me that, the Ten Commandments are inscribed in the Supreme Court, on the wall, on the building of the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. And I said, is that right? And I think this is what the state rep who wrote the bill said. I said, oh, is that right? You mean the same Supreme Court that in 1857 gave us a Dred Scott decision that said that African Americans, whether enslaved or free, could not be American citizens and therefore had no standing to sue in federal court? That same court that you're talking about, the one that says that a black man has no rights that a white man is duty bound to pay attention to? Or the same court that in 1896 looked right here at Louisiana, a case from Louisiana that we know as Plessy v. Ferguson, where the court upheld Louisiana's wicked law requiring racial segregation in public facilities under the doctrine of separate but equal. Or the Supreme Court that in 1944 said it's okay to round up Japanese people and put them in internment camps. That Supreme Court, anchored by Clarence Wannabe Thomas. We ain't a great nation because of the Supreme Court with the Ten Commandments, but we're a great nation because in spite of that. So I will say to everybody that while we got a lot of work to do, that we got to stay awake. I'm sorry, I better change the phrase of that. Stay woke. Because that's cussing across town. The term woke is seen as profane in certain places. But I want to suggest to you that to not be woke is to suggest you are asleep. And to be asleep is when you are vulnerable and taken advantage of. Elections have consequences, and because we don't vote, we get what we don't vote for. And some of y'all smart, drowning in profound ignorance, got good reasons why you don't vote. And you got cousins and uncles and aunts who will tell you why it don't matter and what they're going to do what they want to do. Elections got consequences, and we are reaping a harvest of the consequences of not showing, because democracy is not about what's right and wrong. Democracy is not about black and white. Democracy is about who shows up. And you get the democracy of the people who turn out, show up, and exercise that vote. And as a result, we've gotten what we have now. But I don't feel no ways tied. We've come too far from where we started from. Nobody said that the road would be easy. And I don't believe God's got us out here this far to live. But the question is, what are we going to do? We live in a state that's drowning in profound ignorance, promoting religiosity over things that just make sense. What are we going to do? And so I close with this. I said this morning that I woke up one day, not long ago, a few days ago, and when I knew I was woke, I started writing something. I said, you know what? On behalf of the children who attend school in Caddo Parish and others around the state of Louisiana, I believe the 10 Commandments are a good thing. But they ought to be a good thing if we can give it to the state legislature and let them look at the 10 Commandments, post it on your desk and post it on your wall, but not the ones from the Bible. The ones Jackson wrote just a few days ago. Are you interested in that today? And I believe our state legislators ought to take these 10 Commandments back with you to Baton Rouge the next time you're in session. And I want you to take these 10 commandments. They may not, but I want to give it to them. Number one, commandment number one, thou shalt focus on funding and resources. Because Louisiana's public schools often struggle with inadequate funding, which affects their ability to provide quality education, to maintain facilities, and to offer extracurricular activities. And you know, when you limit resources, it can lead to larger class sizes, outdated textbooks, insufficient technology, and a lack of support for services for our students. So, commandment number one, thou shalt focus on funding and resources. Where the bill for that at? Commandment number two, thou shalt acknowledge teacher shortages and retention. Louisiana faces a shortage of qualified teachers, particularly in subjects like math and science and special education. Additionally, retaining experienced teachers is difficult when you don't want to pay them. As a result, we rely on uncertified or unqualified personnel, affecting the quality of instruction, and there is high turnover rates, and those turnover rates disrupt student learning. Where are the bills at for that? Commandment number three, thou shalt recognize the persistent problems of student achievement and performance. That Louisiana students often perform below the national average on standardized tests and other academic benchmarks. And you know, when students achieve at a low level, it can limit their future opportunities for students and reflect poorly on our educational system, affecting funding and policy decisions. We got F schools because we got F support. Where are the bills for that? Commandment number four, thou shalt acknowledge and address poverty and socioeconomic disparities. Because a significant number of Louisiana students come from low-income families, which can affect their educational experience and their outcomes. You all know, like I know, that poverty can lead to challenges such as access to educational resources, higher absenteeism, and increased behavioral issues, all of which can impede academic success. Where are the bills to do something about that? Commandment number five, thou shalt improve infrastructure and facilities. Many school buildings in Louisiana are older than the teachers and the students and the faculty who go there, and in need of repairs and upgrades. And you know, like I know, that poor infrastructure can create an unsafe and uncomfortable learning environment, negatively affecting both student morale and academic performance. Where are the bills to fix this? Commandment number six, thou shalt guarantee access to early childhood education. Because access to quality early childhood education varies significantly across our state. And without a strong foundation, I don't know about you, but I thank God for the Head Start program. It made me who I am today. And that children who don't have early childhood education enter elementary school unprepared, which can lead to an ongoing academic struggle. Where are the bills for that? Seventh commandment, thou shalt address equity and racial disparities. Racial disparities in educational resources, opportunities, and outcomes remain a significant issue in this state of Louisiana. And those disparities can contribute to the achievement gaps between different racial and ethnic groups, perpetuating not only cycles of inequality, but it'll make children think that they are not able to do what other folks are able to do. That their ice ain't as cold and their sugar ain't as sweet. When the fact of the matter is your sugar is just as sweet and your ice is just as cold. You are just as beautiful and as brilliant as anybody else. I don't care whether your school is located in the north or the south, what people look like. You can, because God made you, Jesus saves you, the Holy Ghost adorns you, truth, liberation, love will elevate you. You got goodness and mercy following you. You are enough just like you are. If you wonder whether a black boy can be the quarterback, go to a black school. That's all you're going to have is black quarterbacks. You want to know if a black girl can be the prom queen or the home girl, go to a black school. You'll see nothing but black queens, and you'll affirm that you're somebody too. Oh, I got caught. Hold on. Where are the bills for that? Commandment number 8, thou shalt anticipate the impact of natural disasters. After all, this is Louisiana. And Louisiana is prone to natural disasters such as hurricanes and floodings, which can disrupt schooling and displace both students and teachers. And when that happens, it can cause long-term disruptions in education, damage to our school infrastructure, and trauma for both student and staff. Where are the bills for that? Commandment number 9, thou shalt alleviate standardized testing pressure. High stakes associated with standardized testing can create pressure on both students and teachers so that they don't get a well-rounded education like many of us have the benefit of. They are busy teaching to the tests. And children do not have a well-rounded educational experience. Something ought to be done about that. Do I have any witnesses here? That we got to figure out how to do something about those things. And I want to close with this, that it's hard to have the reality of a governor who turns up and gets excited about signing a bill for posters, but made it obvious that he was going to cancel food for folks who needed it in the summertime, denying the most vulnerable children food. What are the bills for that? Finally, I didn't give you number 10. Commandment 10, thou shalt improve technology access and integration. Because there's often a digital divide with some students lacking the necessary technology and internet at home. That limited access to technology can hinder students' ability to compete and to complete assignments, to participate in ongoing and online learning, and develop essential digital skills in a society that is growing rapidly paperless. And in many of the houses and the communities like ours don't have internet, Wi-Fi. When's somebody going to do a bill about making sure everybody has access to the same level of technology? We're shouting about the 10 Commandments. I need to tell you, the 10 Commandments can't save you, but Jesus can still save. And for those of us who are Christians, we have to have the ability to escape the pool of profound ignorance in which some are drowning, and move to a place where we are righteously indignant about the kind of carrying on happening in our state, such that we will lift our voices and understand that silence is violence, and it is complicity with that which is going on. To shake your head at the TV ain't making a difference. But when you organize and get together and say, we won't stand for this, And if you didn't vote, you ought to be doubly excited to get involved and engaged so that you can vote the next time. Because elections have consequences, and we are reaping a harvest of our non-commitment to that which so many folk who came before us died for.